Hello and welcome to another episode of Battle Ready. Today is a roundup. A roundup of all of the recent 4.0 rules reveals. So there's been a lot of Warhammer communities putting out these posts one a little bit at a time.
Yep.
But for some people, they can be hard to follow. And then there's been a bunch of YouTuber type people and Reddit threads and stuff like that that are just, I don't know, sky is falling type stuff, which is ridiculous. So we thought we would round up what we know so far.
What we know.
And also our thoughts on it.
Yes.
So first thing, modular.
Yeah.
They're saying that AOS is going to take a modular approach. What does that mean?
It means that you're going to have the main rules you need to play a basic game. And then there's going to be 6 other little bits focused on things like magic, command models, command points, all of those other things.
Yeah, so there's going to be a commands module. There's going to be a terrain module. There's going to be a magic module. And all these different things can get layered on top. And then it seems like if you just want to play Spearhead, or just want to have a simple, easy game, you use core rules. Mm-hmm. And that's all you need to do. You don't need to worry about any of the rest of that nonsense. If you want to play sort of the narrative type game where you can do all different kind of stuff.
You can put in modules.
Then you're going to use almost all the modules.
Only
if you want matched play,
so you will use all of them.
You're going to use all of them because the last one is battle tactics. And then if you want to do the General's Handbook, which they're going to keep printing, then it's all that stuff plus additional layers, right? The General's Handbook might switch out the normal magic module and put in a new one. That's something like what we would do for Antor, right?
Yeah, I wonder if the General's Handbook will be broken down into modules.
Could be. We don't know. But overall, I love this approach.
Yes, I like this.
I really like this. I think it'll be a great way to introduce people to the game. Be a great way to learn it as we're all, gearing up. But then also when we have friends over and you want to play,
you can just
super simple to just say, hey, here's the basics, and we can just play a Spearhead game.
Yeah, let's just play Spearhead.
We'll just play a Spearhead game. It'll be great. I am all for it. I think that the modular approach is going to be really, really good. Now, they haven't really gone into detail on all these modules yet, so as with everything, we have to reserve until we see the full picture before we can have a final prognosis, but I like it. I think they're saying the right thing. All right, priority roll. What do we know about the priority roll?
We know that it's different.
We know that it's staying.
Oh, yes, we also know that it's staying.
And I don't think it actually is that different. I think it's basically the same priority roll we've had. Except what?
Double turn is different.
How?
If you take it, you don't get to do a battle.
So that is, I think the priority roll itself is the same. There will still be double turns.
Yes.
There's still going to be priority. You're still going to have to play in a way that,
perhaps in case of a double turn.
Exactly. But what it says now is, right now they've been trying to give a lot of bonuses to whoever goes second in the battle round.
Underdog bonus, lots of different bonuses.
And, in the 3.0.
Oh, in 3.0, yeah.
Right, so Antor, you're supposed to get an extra command or an extra cast. And that's okay. That's okay. But I don't really think that the second turn in a battle round is that much of a disadvantage. It's getting 2 turns in a row. It's the double turn.
That's scary.
That's the huge deal, right? So the benefits or the penalty should be on the double turn, not merely going second in a battle turn, right? And so what they've done now is they've said, hey, look, if you get a double turn, and that's what they've described it as so far, but if you take the double turn, you cannot score any battle tactics.
Which is interesting because we don't know what those are.
Yeah. So in 3.0, I almost feel like that would completely kill the double turn.
Yeah, that would be so bad.
That's such a harsh penalty that, saying you're not going to get the full 5, you're going to get 3 max.
What you would have to do, you would only take it if you were sure you could obliterate your opponent.
Yeah, you would have to be able to just completely break their back and go forward from there. So it's such a harsh penalty that the double turn becomes something that you hardly ever take, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe battle tactics aren't that important, and so it becomes not even an issue, right? Who cares? I don't swear bad tactics, whatever. So they have to get the level of battle tactics exactly right for this to feel good. But
it'd be like a difficult choice.
Yes. But I do like the idea that we're going to penalize or buff the opponent on the double turn rather than on the second in a battle round.
Yeah.
I think that's a strong move. All right. Speaking of all those modules, they have revealed at least one of them. Well, two of them actually, but one of them is army composition.
Which is awesome now.
So right now in 3.0, you have to have a hero.
Sure.
You have to have
3 battle line if you're playing.
In 2,000 points, you have to have 3 battle line units. And then you have a certain amount of points for your 2,000 points in most cases for your army. And you also have
limits on how
limits on monsters. There's a couple other things that are limited. So how is it going to work in the new version?
Now they've taken sort of a more lore-focused idea in that a hero, you can take a hero, and they have a list of what units they can bring with them. And so you would expect like a Weird Knob Shaman to have maybe some Gut Rippers and Bolt Boys. You would expect an Orc Megaboss to have some Ard Boys, maybe some Pigs. But it's what you would expect that model to have.
And then once you bring your hero, and one hero has to be a Warlord or General still.
Yeah.
But once you bring your hero, he brings in a bunch of stuff in his, what do they call it? His regiment? Yeah, his regiment. His regiment, and that's a 1-drop. Him and the 3 or 4 units that he brings in is his regiment.
I like that.
Then you can bring in another hero with their 3 or 4 guys. But what if you don't want to have a bunch of heroes, right? What if you want to bring units that aren't heroes? Can you do that?
Yes, you can bring auxiliaries.
Yes.
But they are each their own drop.
They're each their own drop.
And whoever has fewer auxiliary units, they get +1 command point each turn, which is good.
So the game definitely encourages you to have little war bands of heroes with their particular retinue, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like the extra command point and the different drops, while impactful, and certainly in like, if you're being very competitive, those are going to be big things that you're worried about.
Oh yeah. You want to take
for the
regiments.
most part, it really opens it up because there's no such thing as battle line anymore. Right? There's no such thing as behemoth anymore.
I like that they got rid of that many so many keywords.
You just get rid of all that stuff. You can bring the army you want, and yes, it may be different amount of drops, or it may be, whatever it's going to be, but you can bring what you want
when you want it.
And the other thing I like about it is they haven't really discussed whether or not there are going to be core battalions like there are in 3.0.
Yeah.
But the fact that your heroes are tied to your drops means we're going to get rid of Battle Regiment, which I hate. I hate Battle Regiment because it's the most boring one.
Because
it doesn't give you any special powers, doesn't give you any special command. Like it's just a 1-drop, but it's so powerful that you basically just always use it.
Yes.
You just whatever. If you have like Andorian locusts, acolytes, Andorian acolytes, right? Then maybe you take that, or maybe you take the one where there were bounty hunters. That one where they could kill the battle line guys, right?
Oh, those were so strong.
But then what you would do is if there was a especially strong one, you take that, and then you just shove everything else into Battle Regiment.
Yep.
And it's just boring. It made list building pretty boring.
Yeah.
So hopefully this signals the end to Battle Regiment. If core battalions continue to exist, hopefully they'll be more interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Next, USRs. All right. So USRs are Universal Special Rules. So right now in 3.0, there's only a couple of them. I can only think of...
Champion?
Nope, is not one. I can think of 2.
Ward?
Ward is definitely one. And Fly.
Yeah, those are the only 2.
And the Universal Special Rule is just something that it's explained in the rule book, and then they explain what a ward is and how it works and all that. And then on the war scroll, all they have to write is
Ward.
Ward. And you're like, oh yeah, I know what that does.
And they would have to say like, this unit has a 5-up ward or a 4-up ward.
So in the new one, they've introduced a lot more special rules, universal special rules. I say a lot more, but it's actually not that many more. But that way, instead of having different war scrolls where the writing is slightly different, and you're like, oh, is that intended? Does this mean they're supposed to pile in? How does this mean? Does they pile in and then fight? Oh, these people fight on death, but it's worded a little bit differently than those people that fight on death. So is it supposed to work differently? It gets rid of all that, and you just have the universal special rules. Yeah. And the ones that we've seen so far, I have actually really, really liked.
Yeah.
Because, for example, there's one that says crit, and then in parentheses, mortals. Now, we know a crit is a 6 to hit.
Yep.
And then in parentheses, mortals mean you're going to mortal on 6s.
Which is nice.
Which is good. But
it makes sense.
But the best thing is, in 40K, that would be called like lethal hits or something like that. And you'd have to remember, okay, lethal, what does that do? When we printed out a spreadsheet not a spreadsheet, a cheat sheet
Cheat sheet.
of all the different ones. Okay, yeah, that's right. Lethal hits is this one. Devastating wounds is this one. Twin linked, right? But instead, I don't have to like remember a special name, devastating wounds. I can just remember, oh yeah, it says crit mortal. I know what that does.
Yeah.
Right. No further explanation. So I really like that there are USRs. I like that the USRs appear so far to be fairly limited.
Yeah.
And I like that they're very descriptive. So it's going to be, there's not going to be a lot of them like lethal hits or precision where you're like, oh, which one is, what is precision again? Right.
Yeah.
So I think that so far, I know some people were a little bit worried about the USRs, but so far, man, I'm real excited by them. I think it's going to be great. All right. Commands. So one thing that's different is they've said there are no abilities. Now, as battle tomes come out, we'll see if they say this. But at least at launch, there are no abilities.
That give
there are
command
no
points.
sub-factions. There are no battle traits. There's nothing that gets you more command points.
So you just have to rely on what you get.
Each player gets 4 at the start of the battle round.
And that's all you get.
You get a bonus 1 if you're behind in points, as a little catch-up mechanism. And you get a bonus 1 if you have fewer auxiliaries.
Yeah.
That's a good amount, right? Not like 40K where you only get 1 per turn.
Which is awful.
That feels not enough. Feels like it's hardly even a resource. But this feels pretty good. And then they released a lot of the commands. And the basic ones are all really, well, not all, but they're either ones like we have, such as all out attack, all out defense. They're still here.
Yep.
Right? Or they're a little bit revised, like rally.
I like the new rally better.
The rally change is so good
because now it will help your heroes.
Well, yeah. Now rally works on anything, right? You roll a bunch of dice. You roll 6 dice, and on 4-ups you get rally points. So you're basically going to get 3, and then you can use those to heal or to res, right?
Yeah, resing works
and that's going to be great because that means on like little chaff units you'll be able to get a bunch of them back. Mm-hmm. But you're not bringing back dragons, right? You're not bringing back, or you have to be very lucky to bring back like desolators or something like that, some high health stuff. You're going to be bringing back little guys, or you're going to be healing
your heroes,
which is good because heroic actions are out.
Can it heal
anything not in combat?
Oh, so it could heal dragons if like one's at one.
It could totally heal dragons. It just can't. It won't be able to bring them back.
Yeah, because once they're dead, they're like giant monsters.
Yes.
They're slain on the floor.
So that's great. I think that's a great ability. There's also one, it costs 2. It's the only one so far we've seen that costs 2 command points instead of 1.
So good.
But allows you to charge in your opponent's turn.
So good.
So good. I mean, the ways you can use that, I mean, some armies are going to be able to abuse those a little bit better than others. But I also feel like, it's good that it costs 2. Because you can see ways in which that is going to be just devastating. Especially like you charge in and you roll just enough, so you just toe into the guy, and you're like, okay, I'm going to pile in to get all my
like
attacks.
A whole bunch of attacks.
And then the other guy charges into you off turn.
And you're like, no!
And your unit's ineffective. Oh, I think that's going to be so good.
That's going to be hard to combat because then you need to be careful that you're making your charges good.
Yep.
And not like bare minimum.
So that is going to be super good. And then the other one that I wanted to touch on is that objectives are changing. Yeah. So right now it is a point on the battlefield. It's not represented by anything, it's just a point. And then anything within 6 inches counts for being on objectives. And they're changing that to the 40K style, which I like better, where the objective itself is something on a 40 millimeter base. So you can have a crystal or a tree or,
giant flag.
A flag, right? Anything that you want to represent your objective. But then if you're 3 inches from that's your objective. That's your contestant.
And so that makes it like you're fighting closer.
Yes, it's smaller. It allows something to be representative on the battlefield. I think that's good. I like that change.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 things that I think are negative. We'll do the lightly negative one first, and that is battle formations. So sub-factions are out. There's no more sub-factions. They're not doing that anymore.
Replaced by battle formations.
For being replaced by battle formations. And when they first announced this, what they said was, we're going to make it based on your play style rather than, sort of a lore hook. So you can just do whatever you want and paint your models however you want. First of all, you can paint them however you want it anyway. But it's going to be based on that. And so I was thinking that meant, I like the castle strategy. So maybe I'll take the battle formation that gives me plus defense. Or, oh, I want to be really aggressive, so maybe I'll take one that gives me plus to charge or something, something like that. Well, they revealed the Stormcast, or at least 2 of the 4 that they say, and both of them are pretty meh.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. They both seem pretty good.
One is they're all based on chambers. So one makes your warrior chamber better when they're near other ones. So you can't just max out your warriors. They get a +1 to hit. And then the extremis chamber, which is like your dragons.
And your desolators and such.
Are they extremis?
Well, they mentioned desolators in the little description, so I'm assuming they're extremis.
Anyway, those guys, once 1 unit per turn, so this happens max on the charge, right? So this isn't happening every turn, and only on your turns, and only for 1 unit. On a 3-up, that means 1 time in 3, it's not even going to work. They get strike first. Strike first is good, especially for dragons, I'm assuming, but that's pretty weak sauce for a sub-faction. Now, maybe the Stormcast are just really strong, so their sub-factions are a little bit weak, right?
Yeah.
In the same way that Night Haunt are pretty dumb, but their battle traits are really good, so it makes it up. So maybe there's some of that going on. Again, can't have any final decisions until we see the whole thing, but I found it a little underwhelming.
They both seemed pretty good to me.
All right, well, I'm glad you're happy for them. Maybe the Skaven ones will be more interesting. I'm really looking forward to the release of the index, then we'll see them all. But that was the first one where I thought, womp womp. That they can't all be bangers, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, last one. And this one is the big one. So as part of the announcements, they announced that there's going to be a number of models leaving the range.
Yes.
All right, so there's 4 big ones. First one are many, not all, but many of the Warcry warbands are out. They're gone. They're out of AOS.
Get out.
To which I say, good.
Yes.
I'm sure there are people out there
that
bought a bunch of one warband because they were like, I really want the Iron Golems in my games or whatever. I feel for you, but those are models for a different game system. They belong in a different game system.
Because they look kind of dumb on AOS because they're supposed to look like they're each doing their own thing.
I mean, some of them looked pretty cool, but I just feel like there was a lot of bloat. They were all treading sort of in the same space, and the rules that we got for AOS, and we did a video about this not too long ago, but the rules that we got for AOS were sort of like, hey, you have a bunch of Warcry models, why don't you try our bigger game, right? I don't think they were ever meant to be AOS models, except for a couple, like the Hunters of Huanchi and maybe the Ogre Maw Pack, which seem like they're supposed to be replacements for
some of the
AOS
models. Yeah, like the Gorger Maw Pack definitely seemed like a replacement for Gorgers, and the Skink Hunters seemed for Chameleons.
Yes. So of the 4, I actually think that one's a good one. I don't feel bad about that one. I don't have any bad feelings. I own a lot of those warbands that were taken out.
We'll play them in Warcry.
We'll play them in Warcry. All right. The next one is one is a little bit sadder, but I'm still pretty ambivalent about it, and that is Bone Splitters being squatted.
Yeah, I'm sad about that one.
I think
goodbye, Splitters of the Bone.
Yeah, I mean the Bone Splitters. If you're a Bone Splitter player and you have that army and you loved it, obviously it sucks, right? That's so tragic, sad. And I feel for
At least you get Legends rules.
Yeah, that's the thing is with all these ones that are leaving, they're saying they're going to update them for at least the first year of the edition, and then they won't be legal in Warhammer tournaments. In Games Workshop tournaments, but in other tournaments, or if you use your rules with friends or whatever, they're going to be supported through the rest of the edition.
It sucks too because we have Gork in the Iron Jaws and Mork in the Cruel Boys. But who's Gorka Morka now?
Well,
who's Gorka Morka?
I think the Cruel Boys in there. So you've seen some Monster Hunter stuff. I think they're going to take over a lot of the thematic territory. But the important part is
both of them because we saw those Weird Brutes sort of go more wild. Yeah. So I think they're starting to change it.
But that's a different conversation. Right now we're just talking about the models leaving the range.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the writing's been on the walls for Bone Splitters for a long time. They haven't gotten anything new ever. I guess they had a Underworld Warband once, but nothing for AOS. Absolutely nothing new. They got souped into the Orc Tome. In fact, in the last several meta watches, they didn't even list Bone Splitter's stats. It's like nobody was playing them. And what Games Workshop said, and I think this is true, is look, they can't keep every model forever.
Yeah.
And so sometimes they have to clear old stuff out to make way for new stuff. And
Bone Splitters was just out.
Bone Splitters is out. It sucks for if you were a Bone Splitters player, but I think it makes sense.
Yeah. At least you get to play Old World now.
No.
Oh, wait. Are they not even in Old World?
They're not really. You can take an upgrade on some of your models to make them like Bone Splitter-y, but there's no Bone Splitters army.
Dang it.
All right. Next. This one is a little crazier, and that is the removal of a ton of Stormcast.
Oh, yeah.
A ton of the first wave stuff.
They got rid of everything in Stormcast.
And all the Sacrosanct stuff is getting squatted.
I think that's a little extreme.
So there was a tinfoil hat theory that said that they wanted to just create so much stuff that they would have to, because they originally wanted to be like Sigma Marines, right?
Yep.
And so they were going to break them into different chapters, and then you could buy a Lord Celestant is the Hammers of Sigmar guy, but a Lord Castellant is the leader of the Celestial Vindicators, and a Lord Aquilor is the leader of the whatever. Yeah. But that didn't pan out. I don't know. I sort of like that theory. I don't have any knowledge that that's true or not. But man, if you bought models that were in this, I mean, if you bought the second edition starter, or like we started near the end of second edition, and we bought the starter, which was filled with Sacrosanct models, and all those models are squatted. It is crazy that they got squatted that fast.
Yeah, they lived through 2 editions.
Now, that said, and I see a lot of people, and I get it, if that's what you love about Stormcast, and that's the only thing you love, and you've got millions of points, I get that you're upset. But if you just take a step back, look at it from a logical thing. First, we've all been complaining that Stormcast had way too many war scrolls.
That's fair.
They just have too many. So we knew, I think we had hoped of, some culling was going to happen, right?
But I don't think they needed to cull an entire chamber.
I don't know. You get rid of those.
But
here's the thing. They're all the same base sizes. Yeah. So those Sequitors
are now Liberators.
They're just fancy Liberators. Those fancy Liberators. Yeah. In fact, you could take those guys and make them your Liberator unit champions. Yeah. Right?
Because they have the pointy hand.
Yeah, you could take your Sequitor, your Sequilibrators, and still use them, right? They're still painted. They're still looking like Stormcast. You just counts as them something else. Yeah. I think people that have a hue and cry over it are going a little overboard, because there's really quite an easy solution. Again, if you're one of those people that only liked Sacrosanct and that's what you wanted, and you wanted to field that army and now you feel like you can't, I get it, it sucks. But for the health of the game, a culling was needed, and I feel like there's not that many people who are going to be hurt, because you can still use the models. You just call them Liberators, right? You're good to go. Those Evocators, those are just whatever paladins you want to call them, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like that is not, it's unfortunate, but it's not that big a deal.
Yeah. Down with WYSIWYG.
Yeah, there should be no WYSIWYG, which we also talked about recently.
Yes, we did.
Last though, the fourth one, the one that I think is bad, and that is the removal of Beasts of Chaos. And I'll tell you what I don't like about it. So the whole Beasts of Chaos army is squatted.
Yep, no Beasts of Chaos.
Now, they did get a couple of things during AOS. They got a foot hero, they got a terrain piece, and they got endless spells. Now, the rumors have been swirling for a while that they were going to go, and frankly, one of the reasons I like the Beasts of Chaos lore.
Yeah, it's cool.
But the models are so old. I was like, I'm not going to buy these models, because I thought they would get refreshed, sort of like Seraphon or Skaven now. And so I'm like, I'll wait for the refresh.
And then they're gone.
And now they're gone. But so it doesn't affect me personally, but it still sucks. It still sucks to see the whole army gone, especially when you've had your own battle tome for 3 editions.
Yeah.
Right? You've had all this stuff. But if the feeling was, you know what? As Games Workshop, we can only keep in stock so many models.
And we just had to let something go.
These aren't selling well, so we have to let them go. You get a year's notice, actually more than a year of notice that they're going, which is great, because in prior years, Games Workshop would just like put an article up on Monday and be like, these guys are gone, sorry.
Yep.
You're like, what? I just bought them yesterday. How can they be gone? Right. So that is good. But, and if they said, all right, we just can't keep them in stock, last chance to buy, they're gone, and we're making room for new armies. Sad.
Yeah.
It would suck for the players.
I wonder if Beast of Chaos
But I
is going to
think-
get replaced by something.
Well, we'll have to see.
Like
But I think
Monstrosities of
it
Chaos.
would make sense. I think it would make sense. But that's not what they're doing. They're moving them all to the old world, which means they're still going to be stocked. They're still going to be on shelves. They're just moving from the AOS shelf to the old world shelf. So it's not as though these things were taking up a bunch of room and now they're being shuttled off so that something else can take its place. They're going to take up the same amount of room. So if you're going to have that anyway, if that's not the reason for culling them, then what are you doing? I don't get that. I don't get it all. There's been some rumors online about, oh, well, it's because there's a division between the main studio and the specialty studio, and they want to be able to track their profits easier. Maybe, I don't know. But I just think it's absolutely ridiculous for them to take beasts out of AOS and not even for any legitimate reason, just because they want them in the old world. Let them be in both, Sell them with their round bases and sell squares separately, or vice versa, so people can buy it and have them in there. There's absolutely no reason that they needed to squat the entire army. Crazy to me. Thoughts?
Since we went on a rampage, I will agree with you.
Well, rampage is a little strong, but yeah, I do think it's just very unfortunate that it went that way. Again, it's nice that you have like 15 months notice, right? So nobody's going to buy it the day before it stops being legal in tournaments, right? So that is good, and we should appreciate that. But I think the decision was questionable.
Yeah.
Questionable. I guess maybe if they decide if the specialty games like Old World are going to be more like Middle Earth Strategy Battle, where stuff goes out of stock for long stretches, and so they just plan on having Beasts of Chaos out of stock for long stretches. Maybe that makes sense, but they certainly haven't said that. Not that they would. And at least what they've said so far leads, I think, a rational person to have a little question mark above their head about what's going on here. I did remember one more thing, though. One more rule that we didn't discuss. So for our last rule, we'll end it on a positive note.
Yeah.
Bravery's gone. Bravery's gone. Positive note. Bravery's gone. Yes, so they've shown off the War Scrolls. Absent from the War Scroll is a stat called Bravery.
It's now contested.
It's now control. And it's how much the model counts for on an objective, which is fine.
I forgot how much Nagash counted on objectives.
I know. We should look at that. But
Liberator's contestable one.
Hate Bravery.
Oh, gosh.
I hate it. I think either you're in an army with super high Bravery, where you're either elite with high Bravery, or you're just like a demon or an undead and you have a 10.
Yeah.
Right? And then Bravery barely matters. Or you're in some kind of destruction army where there's a horde of you with low Bravery, or like Skaven, and now suddenly you're running all the time and Bravery is super punishing. I think the system was really bad. I think the D6 roll on how many models run away is way too impactful. And I am happy that seems to be gone. Now, they haven't told us what they replaced it with. And I think some kind of morale check is important, whether that takes the 40K way of making a roll and seeing if
I think that's too punishing.
If you can get command points. Well, I mean, maybe. We'll have to see what it is. But I mean, I think there needs to be some... I don't think it's any more punishing than running away, because those guys can't contest objectives either. or receive command points.
But then you still have a unit that can function, albeit slightly crippled. And 40K, that unit is worth squat.
That's not true. They can still shoot and fight and attack and charge.
Yes, but at that point, they're not worth game-winning points because they can't contest.
Yeah, but they couldn't contest if they ran away either.
Yes, but at least in Warhammer, you can still contest with less models. In
Not
40K,
if they all run away.
you can contest with 0
Not
models.
if you rolled a 5 on your run roll. They're all gone.
Doesn't matter. At least if even one lives, you can still contest the objective.
Yeah.
In 40K,
I think you're way
even if
off
you lose
base on
all
that
of them.
I think you're way off base.
No, it's you.
So we don't know what the replacement is going to be. Hopefully there is a replacement. I do like some idea of a morale system.
Yeah.
So maybe it's better, maybe it's worse. Hard to see how it would be worse. But maybe, so I'm looking forward to that. But I am definitely happy Bravery and presumably that whole system of running models is out. I'm happy for that. I don't want to see that anymore. All right. Well, I think, is there anything we missed? Any reveals that we haven't covered?
No rules, but I did sort of want to talk about the little cities thing where each Games Workshop store in the city.
Oh yeah, so everybody's local Games Workshop has been assigned a city, and then you can go in and get these cards that tell you, paint a model, paint a unit, play a game, play with a friend, well, all different things, and then you get the points. And you turn that in at the end of like 3 months.
Yeah.
And then you can use your points to help build up the city, or you can use your points to destroy.
Wow, Grimspittle's gonna smash this place.
So Drake and I will be getting our cards very soon, and we're going to be trying to get points. I will be trying to found the city.
And while Grimspittle's gonna smash it,
Drake is trying to smash the city.
I'm an orc. So, I want to smash this thing.
So we'll see how that goes.
It's big and shiny.
Also, they have revealed new models for Liberators and Clan Rats. Sort of the basic troops for both.
Which the Clan Rats look so good compared to the old ones.
So the Stormcast ones look fine. They're fine.
They look cool.
The Clan Rats ones, though, look awesome.
Especially compared to the old one.
I was always interested in Skaven, but I held off because I thought the old models looked not great. I'm happy I did. Because the new ones look fantastic, and I'm excited.
Compared to them, the old Skaven Clan Rats, like you said, looked cartoonish.
Yeah, the old ones look cartoonish. These ones look really good. Yeah. So let us know your thoughts about 4.0's rules. I think on the whole, even though there have been a couple of things that are maybe a little bit more negative, on the whole, I'm really excited for the direction.
I need to play it.
This is heading.
Please.
I really like what we're seeing. I'm very excited to learn more. And this looks like, again, we haven't played it. We haven't seen all the rules. So, this is preliminary. But at least this looks like a very improved version of a game that was already fabulous.
Yes, it's already amazing.
So let us know your thoughts. What are your thoughts on the reveals? What things are you most excited about?
I'm most excited for Breaking the City.
This has been another episode of Battle Ready. Thanks so much for watching.